Watch this from Priscilla Shire.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Shire, and I'm hoping that you'll join me for a 6-week journey as we talk about how we can hear and discern the voice of God in our lives.
Do you really expect and anticipate that the divine voice of God can be heard by you? Do you really think that He loved you enough to die for you, but doesn't love you enough to then talk to you?
Do you really think that He loved you enough to die for you, but then doesn't love you enough to talk to you? What does she think this is? I mean, honestly, what does she think this is? Now, watch this from Charles Stanley. Now, I'm not calling Charles Stanley a false teacher. I differ with him on some significant issues. But I show you this. I show you a clip from Charles Stanley because Charles Stanley, Southern Baptist, you know, he's not Benny Hinn, he's not Kenneth Copeland. I'm showing you a clip from a wide spectrum of prominent evangelicals to show you how ubiquitous and how almost unchallenged this doctrine is that God should be speaking to us on a regular basis outside of Scripture. Watch this from Charles Stanley.
So are you asking if God speaks specifically? And the answer is, yes, He does. Let me give you 2 or 3 examples. Speaking about buying groceries, on a particular day, I had a very short period of time, and so I wanted to buy a turkey for Thanksgiving. My time was really running out. I thought, well, I shouldn't do this now. I said, God, just show me what to do. It's like God said, go to this store, buy the turkey now. Against sort of my will, I went. I walked right in, straight to the right place, the right pound of turkey, walked right out, paid it, got back in the car in less than about 25 minutes. Did God tell me to go? Yes, He did.
So Charles Stanley has such a close relationship with God that God even tells him where to go get his Thanksgiving Day turkey. Has God ever told you where to go get your Thanksgiving Day turkey? Well, if God has never told you where to get your Thanksgiving Day turkey, then you must not have as close a relationship with God as does Charles Stanley. And Charles Stanley goes on to give another example of how he was buying a car one day on the car lot, and he was about to ink the deal, and God said to him, do you want that car or do you want my best? And so then, based upon God's words to him, he went and he got a more expensive car, and that was God's best. This is a book by a man named Sam Storms. Now, Sam Storms would agree with us in that he has a high view of God's sovereignty and salvation. He believes in the doctrines of grace, but he is charismatic. He does believe that all of the sign gifts continue to be operative today. And Sam Storms writes this in his book entitled Practicing the Power. He says, quote, to be the recipient of prophetic revelation from God, whether in dreams, impressions, trances, visions, or words of knowledge and words of wisdom, can be nothing short of euphoric. The experience brings feelings of nearness to God and a heightened sense of spiritual intimacy that isn't often the case with other of the charismata, so other of the spiritual gifts. So in other words, if you get dreams, if you get visions, trances, God speaks to you, maybe you even go to heaven every once in a while, then that's real intimacy with God. You're a spiritual have. But if you're one of these poor old souls, and let's just say you've got the gift of teaching, and you've got the Bible, gift of teaching, you know, that's not so special, you see. Or if you have the gift of mercy, the gift of ministration, you know, so that's not so special. You're a have-not, sorry. You just don't have as close a walk with God as do the others. You know, you get dreams and visions. They have a really intimate relationship with God. You know what that is? It's Gnosticism. It's a modern-day version of Gnosticism. The Gnostics divided people up into classes, the haves and the have-nots. So if you get dreams and visions, you're a have. But if you don't, sorry, tough luck. You're a have-not. It's a modern-day version of Gnosticism. It's what the charismatic movement is. Experiencing God by Henry Blackaby. Anybody here ever done Experiencing God? Yeah, I have too. Taught it myself, actually, but I'm feeling much better now. I don't teach it anymore. Henry Blackaby. I would submit to you that Henry Blackaby and experiencing God is singularly most responsible for introducing charismatic theology into at least theoretically non-charismatic churches. Before Experiencing God came out, every non-charismatic evangelical would have understood that God speaks to us in the Bible, we speak to Him in prayer. Every non-charismatic Christian would have understood that. Now, hardly anybody understands it. And I would submit to you that it was Experiencing God that is singularly most responsible for muddying these waters that used to be pretty clear. Blackaby writes this. He says, if you have trouble hearing God speak, you're in trouble at the heart of your Christian experience. So again, the stakes are high. If you have trouble hearing God speak to you, or have trouble knowing whether it is or is not God, you're in trouble at the very heart of your Christian experience. What a burden. What a burden to place on people. But so many people claim that God speaks to them and speaks to them so clearly. Sean Bowles is one of these. Now, it's tempting to say Bolts, but his name actually is pronounced Bowles. But Sean Bowles has his own ministry and a prophetic journey with Sean Bowles. He teaches you how to hear the voice of God because he's very good at it, you see. Sean Bowles, in fact, Sean Bowles hears God speak to him so clearly that God will even give him specific information about people that he's never met before, such as their addresses and even their usernames, and their social media platforms. It's amazing how clearly Sean Bowles hears God speak to him. And he's in big with Bill Johnson and the NAR folks. Now, I'm going to show you a video clip, a couple of different clips of Sean Bowles getting words of knowledge from God. God is going to speak to him, and you're going to see this in action. And I want you to notice, as you watch these clips, if you notice something, look for something that might be kind of a clue as to exactly how God just might be speaking to Mr. Bowles.